Flibbity flobbity hibbity hobbity. NoodleHouse here, and we're back on Chaos Child. It's now November 6th, 2015, and it is a Friday. Ironically, the same day that I'm recording today is also a Friday. Fantastic. Uncanny. The second Shibuya Restoration Festival was now over. And it seems like Serika was the only one who fucking survived. Somehow. The murmuring among the crowd at the Memorial Park started as soon as the ward mayor finished his speech. Some people headed straight for the station, glad to be done. Some people were so moved by the speeches given by the victims that they stood in front of the memorial, wiping away their tears. Some people went out to go drinking since it was Friday. It all comes to the Restoration Festival for different reasons. But even now, when all the planned festivities were over, there were still some people who hadn't seen what they'd come for. Oh, he's not here. One idiot said he was going to be here. The whispers started all over the place. And the others agreed, even though they would never say it, they all looked around with searching eyes. Everyone was looking for Takuru Miyashiro. At the same time, Shibuya Scramble Crossing. This place was even more packed than the Memorial Park, and the reaction was even stronger. Huh? Of course he's not going to kill himself. Don't believe everything you read, you dumb masked wrong-sider. Oh, that ticks me off. Some started to say the whole thing was a hoax, and the more and more people began to leave. This thing is... Bless me. The ones that didn't move at all were the ones in the masks. They were waiting for Takuru Miyashiro more than anyone, but the festival was over. When the heat and passion of the festival began to fade, the reality came crashing in. They began to doubt. He was the mastermind behind all those murders. They thought there would be nothing for him to commit suicide in public, but they were wrong? Or was someone that brilliant capable of making an announcement like that then managing to escape? The ones that stood in groups began to stare at each other with their three-eyed masks, trying to guess what the other was thinking. Should they move somewhere with less people? They waited for someone to suggest it. What's that? And then something happened that saved them. At the centre of the commotion were police officers running somewhere in a hurry. No, wait a second, I'm telling you. Shinjo kept suggesting that they get confirmation, but his boss ignored them. When the information had come in, he'd lost his ability to control the situation. Wait, damn it. He cursed at the phone as they hung up on him. This was bad. This was really, really bad. What's wrong? Kunosato, I told you to wait in the car. You made me wait too long. What happened? Shinjo looked at the time. It had already been 10 minutes after he'd gone back to Albadom and gotten everyone into the car. There was an anonymous call. They know that Miyashiro is at the Hikari-wo. What? It was probably the first time he'd ever seen her go pale. Who told them? I don't know. HQ's insisted that it doesn't matter. Shinjo had repeatedly asked for a source, but it didn't help. From the way his boss had been acting, it was possible they didn't even know where it had come from. Our officer's on the way to the Hikari-wo now. What will you do? Now the police knew that Miyashiro was at the Hikari-wo, there was no time to go to Akihabara and back. He had to be there, it was his job. He was the detective in charge of the case. And if Miyashiro was going to be arrested, he was the only one who could help. But getting the kids from Albadom out was something that only he could do. What should he do? He kept asking himself that. Go. We'll escape Shibuya on our own. What? But you don't know what's going to happen if you try. That's why he'd remained as a guard. I'll figure something out. Just leave the car. Huh? She couldn't mean... He had a bad feeling. Did Kunasato have an international license? Is this a time to be worried about unlicensed drivers? Go. Listen. Suddenly his phone began to ring. This time it's from one of his men. There wasn't even time to think about it anymore. There are kids in the car. Don't do any crazy driving. Of course. Who do you think I am? Call me if something happens. If that doesn't work, run into a police box and give them my name. Shinjo ran off without waiting for an answer. Shinjo.
Huh?
He turned around. Kunasato had a totally earnest look on her face as she spoke. The accelerator's the one on the right, isn't it? Shinjo had to force himself not to go grab the keys out of her hand. Look it up on the internet, wrong sider, he yelled as he ran toward the Hikari-wo. Huh? It was cold, and I was sleepy. My body wouldn't move. Huh? Was I back in that world? That dark prison? No. I could still feel pain. My senses were still working. Then what was this? I remembered where I was. I'd passed out? Ah, my back, my stomach. I felt the warmth fading from my body with each drop of blood I lost. But my wounds burned like someone was pressing a soldering iron up against them. And yet for some reason, I felt sleepy. This didn't make sense. My whole body had stopped making sense. I heard footsteps. They were getting further away. I forced my eyes to open and look towards the source of the sound. The first thing I saw was my dad's body, the body of the man I'd killed. Until a moment ago, he'd still been a person. And beyond him, I saw her through my blurry eyes. Inoue? She was getting further away. It was Serika. She was alive. She was walking. She had just put her phone in her pocket. She was walking across the stage. Probably she was heading for the exit high among the seats. She didn't look back. Why are you alive? It wasn't a hallucination, at least it shouldn't have been. No one was left who could use mind control. Wait, no, wait. There's something I have to ask you. That's why I'd come. Move, damn it. Come on, this was supposed to be my body, right? Why wasn't it moving when I tell it to? Serika stepped off the stage. She made her way through the seats to leave. She was about to disappear. No, don't, wait. Please, come on, move. Suddenly I felt a familiar pain in my head. I obeyed my intuition and let it go. The dice sword appeared in my hand. That's right, I could do it. Just like I'd done before. I used my powers to fling the dice sword at Serika. I didn't care if it landed at her feet or where it landed at all. I just had to stop her. Serika sensed it coming and turned around. At the same time, a light appeared around her. Her dice sword appeared from within the light and she grabbed it. And easily blocked the incoming blaze. When the two swords hit, my vision went white. You want me to use mind control on you? Yes. Yes, even. What? What was going on? What was I looking at? I've got a lot of questions, but can I start by asking why? I read Nonakuruzu's mind before I killed her. She left a letter behind. I see, how heart-rending. So she knew she was going to be killed then.
The police probably already have it. Sooner or later, Takuru Miyashiro is going to read it, and when that happens, Miyashiro will be held back by her death, and by what's inside. He'll try to do what the letter says.
And what does it say?
Don't try and get revenge, give up on the case.
Huh?
If that happens, Miyashiro will stop for sure, and that's a problem for me. So I have to make him interested in something besides revenge or the case. I have to make him interested in me. That will cause him to act.
Yeah? How do you know that?
I know everything there is to know about Miyashiro. That's who I am.
So why do I have to use mind control?
Because I have Hinai Aramura with him. I want to neutralize her power. If the mind control caused me to believe the lie, it stops being a lie. Aramura will think it's the truth, and so will Miyashiro.
Oh, the same trick we used with that Ito kid. Serika was talking with Dad. The vision was unclear, but it was wrapped in fog. But this was... This whole thing's such a pain. Though, it would be much easier to use mind control on Takuru himself, right? Hey, don't get mad.
I want to minimize the use of mind control on him as much as possible. It damages the brain, correct?
Yes, we're going to use it one more time. At the very end. Nowhere can be a gigglomaniac without it.
Just one more time, got it?
Got it. I could see the two of them talking. It looked like an old movie shown through a projector that was slightly out of focus. But I wasn't really seeing it. The vision seemed to be coming directly into my mind. Okay, next. What kind of mind control do you want?
The script will work like this. First, you've lost contact with the committee, and you want to get back on their good graces, make me believe this is a lie. Second, you betrayed me and are trying to take Takuru Miyashiro out to be the criminal in order to win the committee's favor, make me believe this as well. Third, make me tell him myself. Make me tell him myself at the appropriate time that I was the one who killed his parents. And finally, change the reason I exist.
That's right. These are probably Serika's memories. Were her memories coming to me via the Dai Sword? You want me to involve me in your lies too?
I have to. There's another person besides Aramura who's a threat to the plan, Miyokuna Sato.
Her, huh? I see.
She knows too much about what's going on. That's why we make up the story about the committee. Whenever the committee is involved, she stops thinking straight. If we can make her think that I have information on the committee, she'll never let me go. Ironically, thanks to her, I'll be able to stay with Miyashiro.
You're a scary woman. You figured all that out on your own? Or is this thanks to your mind reading?
I'm the one who's controlling all the characters in this game.
I remembered something. The theory I'd come up with in the newspaper club room. That it was like the killer was challenging me to a game. That the killer was moving people around like chess pieces. And that they wanted me to be the other player in the game. But once my dad identified himself as the killer, I'd given up on my theory. I thought that I was wrong. But maybe I was right? I see, a game, huh? I like anything that's fun, though I don't like the idea of changing the reason you exist, even for a short while.
You don't need to get involved. All you want is data on Miyashiro and the true gigglomaniac, right? I'll give you what you want.
Well, that's true. Though I've said this before, the chance of Takuru's mind enduring what I'm planning to do to him is 0. I picked this method of torture up directly from the guy who ran that basement facility under AH Tokyo General Hospital.
Don't underestimate him. I've said that many times before as well.
You don't mind if I break him, do you? We both decided that you wouldn't interfere.
If you didn't have a mind control device, I would have killed you first.
Sounds fun. Want to try it?
You scum.
Oh, one more thing. Why do you need me to make him look like the killer? You just want him to solve the case, right?
That's...
my vision blurred and then started seeing... my vision... Oh, fuck me, I can't read today. My vision blurred. There seemed to be a chorus of buzzing inside my head. Those are the words that I meant. This feeling, it was the same as when I used my power. The same as when I saw the die sword in the corner of my vision. Another vision came to me through her die sword.
The him inside him speaks to me.
I'm different from the other people. Lots of people say that, but most of them are wrong. They're all wrong-siders, who just don't realise it. I'm the only one who's really different. Was this me? I survived the nightmare of the Shibuya earthquake, and someone killed my parents. The definition of special and has something that clearly differentiates it from others. Few people have experienced these things. That's why I'm really special. Hey, did I ever tell you about the comments from the Shibuya earthquake victims?
What do you mean?
Remember how after the chaos from the earthquake calmed down, a ton of reporters started asking the victims for comments? Before the term Chaos Child Syndrome existed? Most of the interviews were about what good citizens we were. After the huge disaster, there were barely any violence or looting. They said this was amazing. And I think they were right. When they asked the victims what was the hardest part, most people were more concerned about others than themselves. They talked about how they couldn't contact their families and tell them they were safe. Or how they couldn't give their kids their favourite foods. But then one person said something different. I remember what they said word for word. It left a huge impression on me. You outsiders have some nerve if you're telling us to hang in there. I remembered. It was what I'd said to Serika at the cafe. It was just after the Love Hotel incident.
It's incredibly important to him that he be part of things. That's who he really is at his core.
I don't know how you people can never get so worked up over a single tweet. Oh, how you people can get so worked up over a single tweet. I could never do that. Let's go check that arson site from yesterday. It's close to here. This one looks pretty good.
He dived deep into the internet, drowned in information, and tried to become a right-sider to help himself swim. And he chose an urban legend to test his abilities. That broadened his interest into real-world crimes. It all began with...
When we were in 6th grade, the New Generation Madness happened. That was 2009. It was like we'd gone crazy. What? What was this? This was me yesterday. How? Was Serika's die sword reading my memories now? At first we couldn't believe that something like this had happened in the city we lived in. We spent almost a whole day glued to the computer following the news. When something big like that's going on, if you take your eyes off the internet for even a few hours, you'll get left behind. We stayed up all night in shifts, following the case. Sometimes we used our cell phones to read the internet as we actually went through the crime scenes and took pictures. Serika hadn't been real then. But she'd been with me anyway? More murders kept happening, and eventually they started to say Takuru Miyashiro was the killer, but eventually that turned out to be wrong. Serika and I were both very excited. He seemed so cool. Proving your innocence means getting the right... Fuck me, I don't know what it is today. Today I can't read that well, and it's kind of annoying me as well. Proving your innocence means getting the right information, and shoving it in the faces of the people whose information was bad, right? It seemed like the ultimate expression of what I was trying to do then, and I guess I'm still trying to do now with the newspaper club. Serika said he was amazing, I agreed. Oh, one more thing. Why do you need me to make him look to be like the killer? You just want him to solve the case, right?
Because that's how it was during the New Generation Madness 6 years ago. It ended with the person who was believed to be the killer clearing his name and solving the case.
I know how obsessed you are with the New Generation murders. It was your idea to make all the dates match and have people start calling it the return of the New Generation Madness. The whole reason you panned the murders of the New Generation killings and left the sumo stickers at the scene for Takuru to find was to let him solve the return of the New Generation Madness, right? Then was the theory that I came up with the newspaper club room right? It was Serika who was manipulating the characters and setting up the game. And her real goal was me.
You came up with the murders. Don't blame those sick things on me.
I have to at least test out my mind control a little or it's no fun. But we've already set everything up fine this far, right? Why does it have to end the same way as the old case?
I'll say it again, don't underestimate him.
Huh?
Takuru Miyashiro will keep looking. The reason he created me is...
What was the reason, Serika? Fucking tell me the reason! The vision changed again. It was me. It was me back then. When I'd ran into the shelter. That's right, that's right. That's what I thought then. I'd met the people from my class on the way there. They were, probably, trying to help a woman who was injured and covered in blood. They'd asked me to help, I couldn't move. I couldn't think clearly, even though I knew how to give first aid. They seemed to think I was going to just let the woman die. So they looked down on me. I hope I never ended up like them, their eyes said. I'd end up like him, even. It was what I, as a right-sider, always thought about wrong-siders like them. It was the way I always looked at them. I hated it when they looked at me like that. I knew all kinds of things they didn't. I should go back and tell them what to do. Were they treating her injuries right? Were they doing it in the right order? I could make the right decisions. That's what I thought. Takuru? What are you doing here? Suddenly, my parents appeared. That was right. It was when I'd run into them at the shelter. They were yelling something at me excitedly, and they grabbed my arm and I shook them off. Takuru, what are you doing? Don't start causing problems again. You're saved. I'm saved? Just come with me. All I could do then was open my eyes and stare at them. I'm saved. I remember thinking that. By people who had never cared about me before? I shook my arm away again. Saved me? Why? These people had always neglected me. Now they were going to save me? Why? Just when I thought that. I saw myself holding my head in pain. My nails dug into my flesh, but the pain didn't stop and I kept screaming inside. No, this isn't right. Those wrong sides in the class never did anything good before, but they wanted to be good now, and they wanted to look at me like I was worthless. I could see myself screaming more. My heart and head felt like they were My heart and head felt like they were going to burst. You're going to save me? You, the people who just gave me 1,000 yen instead of taking me out to dinner on my birthday. Hell no. I'm not the kind of person who just gets saved by parents who don't even want him. My mum was yelling something, but I couldn't hear it then, and I couldn't hear it now. Shut up. You just think I'm in the way, don't you? I think the same thing. You're in my way. What could I do? What did I want to do? Why was I here? That's right. Where's Serika? I'd carry Serika on my back to get her to the hospital. I couldn't feel her on my back, though, through the pain in my head. But I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was saving her life. Serika would understand that. She always told me what I did was right. She was always on my side. Suddenly everything went white. I said shut up. You people should just go away forever. Anoe. Serika, save me. Please. Please. Anoe, please give me. That's right. These are probably Serika's memories. That's when I made my wish. To Serika. Give me something I want to do. Help me do it. Serika's memories came into me through the die sword, and my memories went into her. When she knocked away my die sword, the visions vanished. When I came back to reality, the first thing I saw was Serika's face. It was filled with despair, like she was about to cry. I'd never seen her like that before. I knew immediately that she'd seen the same things I had seen. Give me something I want to do. Help me do it. That was the terrible wish I'd made. That was the only reason why Serika Inoue existed. Laughter filled the theatre. It took me a long time to realise that it was mine. The pain from the leg my dad had broken was getting worse. But the pain in my heart was somehow worse than even that. As I rose, Serika started to stagger backwards as if she was terrified of me. When I saw her, I laughed even more. I survived the worst that my dad could throw at me, and a single truth was about to drive me mad. I went forward, dragging my left leg behind me. I looked and saw that where I thought Serika had stabbed me in the stomach, she'd only cut a bit of the skin on my side. It hadn't even reached my organs. This wasn't a fatal wound, which meant this was also... It was all just a big show. The sword that Serika had knocked away came back to me. I reached out my hands for it. And then this ends with you declaring yourself to be the real killer? No, I guess not. That wouldn't mean that I solved it. It wouldn't feel real.
Stop it.
So that's it. Dad's job is to be the real killer. I killed Dad, then once I think it's all over, you knock me out, and then...
No.
And then you... Oh, I see. You manipulated the information that was sent to the public. Was that what you were doing with your phone? Did you call the police?
No.
Even without Aramura, I could tell that she was lying. Serika was crying. She was wiping away the tears with her sleeve. She looked like a little girl. No. She didn't just look like a little girl, she probably was one. She was only 6 years old. That's right. The guy in the New Generation case almost got publicly executed. He'd have been arrested and dragged before a bunch of people, right? And then what? Just when everything looked bleakest, evidence would come out that Sakuma was the real killer, and I'd suddenly be a hero? Was that it? Tell me, Inoue. My voice was shaking. The laughter was turning into something different. Serika kept crying and didn't answer me. Tears started to fall from my eyes, and my vision began to blur. It was as if everything in our hearts was becoming tears and flowing out. Where Utani died in the Don't Look At Me case, and Taki Yanagi died in the Leaky Noise case, and when Aramura's friend Kakita died, and when Watabe the journalist died, and when Haida died and made it look like Senri Manimasawa, and then when Ito was mind-controlled into killing Yui, and when Nono died. All of that was my fault?
No, I did it.
That's right, you did it, and I made you.
I told you that's not true.
Serika's dye sword sliced apart some of the audience seats, but I kept going. Kunosato was right, too many murders were going on around me. Of course they were. The whole thing was set up so that I could solve it. You killed my parents because I wished that they would go away, right? Serika didn't answer. I didn't expect her to. The case was perfect. It was just what I wanted to do. I thought it was a great scoop. Any less and I wouldn't have wanted to follow it until the end, right? But in the end, after I solved it, all that I'd been left with was emptiness and the guilt from what I'd done. That's why I knew what I had to do. Dragging my leg behind me, I finally made it to the edge of the stage. I could see the steps down into the audience area. All that was left was to go down the stairs and out the door. Serika's expression changed. She was still crying, but she seemed shocked.
Don't do it.
She must have used her mind-reading power to see what I was planning to do. She ran to the bottom of the stage to block me.
Don't do anything stupid.
But I looked straight at her, as if to say that I wasn't changing my mind.
Don't. I said don't.
Serika raised the dye sword and pointed it at me. It was a warning not to go any further, but I wasn't stopping now. You can't kill me, right?
I can knock you out again. When you wake up, everything will be over. You might know what happened then, but eventually you'll realize.
Realize what?
What you really want to do isn't what you're thinking right now. It's to be the hero who solved the unsolvable case, the man who the whole world adores.
That isn't what I want.
You do, I know. No, I'm the only one who knows.
Serika's words probably came from reading the deepest part of my heart. I wouldn't deny that. She was right. If I just let her handle everything, I would be a hero. And if I kept going forwards, all that awaited me was destruction. When I thought about that, it was scary, it was terrifying. But I still...
Why?
She was still holding the die sword. It was clear that she had no intention of letting me go any further. I grabbed the hilt of my own die sword and raised it as well. Come on. I said to her from the top of the stage. I said the same thing to her that she said to me in that black prison. Come on up on stage, Serika Onoe. I could see her on the other side of a die sword looking hurt. But she must have read my thoughts and realised that I wasn't going to change my mind because she slowly came up. The bright lights illuminated her beautifully. I took several steps back the way I'd come so I could keep my distance. Huh? I must have lost too much blood, because suddenly I staggered. My vision blurred. With only my right leg working, I was barely able to keep my balance. I couldn't stop here. I couldn't.
Why? Why are you trying to come forward as the killer? No, why are you letting them think it was you? The only ones who believe that the other people down there, the wrong-siders. You're a right-sider. And they're the people that you hate most. The ones who don't even realise that they're being manipulated by false information. They're just a bunch of idiots who came to watch you kill yourself like they were watching a movie. If you say you're the killer, that would just be what they want. Why didn't he kill himself? He's an asshole. No, he's God. You can imagine what they'll say.
I knew that. I could easily imagine it. The ones outside the Kariwo building right now are probably the same ones who'd been partying at the Shibuya Scramble Crossing earlier. There were probably a lot of them writing irresponsible comments online. The TV was probably filled with self-proclaimed social commentators who were telling the audience exactly what they wanted to hear. But I'd seen the way. I'm a wrong-sider.
What?
I didn't even know anything about the friend who'd been with me since I was a little kid. I gripped the die sword tight. The game you created is over. The moment she hesitated, I struck myself on the back with my own powers. My vision blurred as I started to accelerate. I knocked myself forward and instantly closed the gap between myself and Serika. Caught off guard, she stepped back and lowered her blade. She was ready to swing it upward. I ignored her and brought mine down. She brought hers up.
Taku, what are you going to do?
Back then, another image came to me as the die sword collided. Die swords collided. Her sword knocked mine away, and I quickly brought it back for another strike.
Hey Taku, do you see something weird at the end of the video? Here, look, outside the window.
Or then, I saw flashes of several different conversations. I didn't know if they were my memories or hers anymore, but each time our die swords collided, I saw another. Serika wasn't just a normal girl who everybody loved. She was a mastermind who set up this whole game for me. And she killed Nono and Yui just to lead me to the end. The symptoms of blood loss were getting worse. My vision was darkening. It felt like I was about to pass out. She kicked me? The sudden, fierce pain in my stomach knocked me off balance. I dropped the die sword and flung up my hand to try and grab it again.
Stop it!
She kicked the sword away. It spun all the way to the edge of the stage.
Stop it!
I fought through the pain and used my powers on the die sword. It flew high up into the air.
I said stop it!
Serika screamed in rage, but I couldn't stop. The die sword spun wildly as it launched itself at Serika.
Damn it.
She knocked it away, but I wasn't done yet. Take this. I used my powers to make the die sword fly again. The sword attacked her once more. She knocked it away again. Each time it came at her, Serika knocked it down. I couldn't land an attack. Damn it, why? Why? Oh. Then I realised that she was looking at me. She wasn't looking at the sword. That's right, her power. That's why I couldn't hit her. The sword lost its energy and clattered onto the floor. I fell to my knees and collapsed.
You've had enough, right? Stop this, please.
Damn, this wasn't going to work. She could read everything I was thinking. She knew the direction the sword was going to come, or more precisely, the direction I was sending it. This was bad. The room seemed to spin, and sometimes my vision would dim. I couldn't move my arms or legs. I felt cold and like I needed to throw up.
Just sleep. The police will be here soon. Don't worry, once you wake up and time passes, you'll realise what you really want.
Serika said it again. That this was what I wanted. But I couldn't let myself believe her. What should I do? What do I do? What if I changed the direction of the lights to blind her and then attacked? But the second I thought it, she knew. What if I pretended to make the dice sword disappear and then concealed it somewhere on stage? The second I thought of it, she knew that too.
That's right, you can't beat me. Please, just don't move. Don't open your wounds anymore.
I didn't have the strength left to attack her myself. Even if I did, it was useless to try and attack someone who could read my thoughts. Then what could I do? Think.
Stop it. Stop thinking about this.
Think. There has to be a way. I was the one who created her. Then suddenly I had an idea. And I'm going to end the episode here. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like in the section below. And if you want to see more of this, then do subscribe to the channel as I upload every day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.